exercises that expand the sense of self and reverse our ordinary selfish inclinations. One of the best known of these techniques is the meditation on love, or metta bhavana, which is very widely practiced in the Theravadan traditions of South and Southeast Asia. In this practice, one seeks to generate a boundless feeling of love, of course, platonic love, or often translated as loving kindness to emphasize that fact. And then one radiates to them this sense of love and good feelings and happiness. In other words, you generate the wish that all beings experience happiness and are deprived of the sources of unhappiness, and generate this feeling of warm loving kindness to all beings. While most of us generate these sorts of feelings for those we are close to, our loved ones such as family members and close friends, in this meditation one attempts to generate these feelings in a universal fashion, expanding them to all classes of beings, both loved ones and even hated ones, as well as various classes of beings in the Buddhist cosmology, such as the beings of the six realms. A practice that seeks to transform the way that we relate to the world in perhaps an even more dramatic way is the Tibetan meditation practice known as Tonglen, giving and taking. This practice is traditionally thought to have originated in Southeast Asia, in the region known as Suvarna Dvipa, which was most likely Java or Sumatra in present-day Indonesia. It was brought back from Indonesia to India and then later Tibet by the great Bengali saint Tisha Dipankara Sri Gyana, who played a major role in the restoration of Buddhism in Tibet during the 11th century. In this practice, one seeks to reverse one's ordinary selfish tendencies by visualizing that you offer up your happiness and the causes of your happiness to all other sentient beings. And one visualizes in turn that one removes, relieves, and assumes their suffering and the causes of their suffering. One does this through the medium of breath, a basic human activity in which we all, with each inhalation, take in a portion of the surrounding world, and with each exhalation, extend a portion of ourselves into the world. The way this practice works is that as you exhale, you imagine yourself extending your happiness and the sources of your happiness to all beings, sharing it with them. And then as you inhale, you visualize that you take into yourself their suffering and the causes of their suffering. This, of course, obviously reverses our ordinary basic human inclinations, which is to maximize happiness for ourselves and not worry so much about the happiness of others. Now, both of these techniques, I think, at least in my own personal experience, are very powerful techniques which can, over time, help us to overcome our selfish tendencies by training ourselves to privilege others' needs above our own. However, cultivating great compassion was traditionally considered to be a tremendous challenge by Mahayana Buddhists. According to the Mahayana tradition, to become a completely awakened Buddha, one must cultivate both a store of wisdom and a store of merit, or good karma. Apparently, the store of wisdom, which usually is understood to involve direct realization of emptiness, is relatively easy to cultivate. However, the store of merit was traditionally viewed as extremely difficult to generate, requiring, as it did, dedication to compassionate activity over an extremely long series of lifetimes as a bodhisattva. However, the esoteric Buddhist traditions claim to have resolved this problem. They follow the Mahayana tradition with respect to their worldview, but claim to have developed a secret method which can transform and purify the mind much more quickly, dramatically augmenting one's evolution as a compassionate bodhisattva. The idea here is that what takes so long in bodhisattva training yourself to become a completely awakened Buddha, is basically the mind training the mind to overcome selfish tendencies and replacing them with compassionate tendencies. The esoteric Buddhist traditions claim to have developed a secret method to dramatically accelerate the transformation of your mind. The method of the esoteric Buddhist traditions involved transformation of the way one sees and experiences oneself and others. seeing both as non-different, as fully awakened Buddhas. Moreover, one's environment is visualized as the completely pure environment of a Buddha, a Pure Land, conceived in the esoteric Buddhist traditions as the mandala. This idea was expressed lucidly by Rongzom Chokizangpo, an important Nyingma scholar who lived in Tibet during the 11th century. He explains that, and I quote, "In the mantric method, the two truths are inseparable. Furthermore, there is no production of non-delusion by means of removing delusion, and awakening occurs through the purification by means of the very actuality of delusion. Therefore, all things are completely awakened from the beginning, and things which appear in diverse states are the mandala of the adamantine body, speech, and mind itself. They are similar to the Buddhas of the three times who have not yet passed beyond the actuality of purity. The characteristics of sentient beings and Buddhas are not different from the very actuality of things. The mind attributes to them distinct appearances through the power of imagination. In the same way,